AA Softball Super Regionals is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by Dos Equis. Get a dose. Please enjoy responsibly.
Just up the road from Denny Chimes on the campus of the University of Alabama, we're at Rhodes Stadium, and we are ready for Kentucky and Alabama. The starting lineup presented by Capital One with Kayla Kowalik, just under 500 on the season. Set the lead off with Tatum Spangler, Lauren Johnson, and the talented freshman shortstop, Aaron Koffel, batting cleanup, and they'll try to find a way to do what's been hard to do lately, and that's beat Montana FOUTS.
She has just been fantastic in the circle throughout this, really in this entire season, but specifically in the postseason for Montana FOUTS. She brings the heat. She brings it high 60s, low 70s with great spin, great movement, and location as well.
She brings the heat for strike one to get things going in the Alabama heat. 84 degrees at first pitch. The wind is blowing pretty strong right now out to right field. So we'll keep an eye on that as a sellout crowd has continued to fill in here at Rhodes Stadium. And it's 1-1 to Kowalik. 497 on the season. Does have pop. Can really beat you in a variety of ways with the slap, with the power. Just fantastic hitter who has just done it at such a high level right from the start of the season, and she's maintained that through this season while catching non-stop for Kentucky. She's caught each inning since March 31st, so Kowalik, tough player, and battling FOUTS 1-2.
And you think all those innings behind the plate would be tough on her legs, being a slapper and her having to utilize that speed, but Coach Rachel Lawson says she is so strong, and that's what gives her an advantage up there at the plate.
Two and two.
This pitch, a rise ball on the outside half of the plate. Looks like it's just maybe missing up and outside of the zone. Montana FOUTS already early in this game trying to establish that outer half of the strike zone.
Line drive back up the middle. It's hit number 99 on the season for Kayla Kowalik, leading things off for Kentucky. A solid single to get the Wildcats going.
99, what a perfect number for Kayla Kowalik, taking this pitch that's low and inside, making the adjustment. Montana FOUTS trying to throw that rise ball, the pitch before on the outside half of the plate, brings it inside, and she is fired up as she's running down that line because she knows the key to beating Alabama is getting on base.
Here's junior Tatum Spangler, who tries to lay down a bunt with Kowalik on the move for strike one. Spangler in right field at 354 on the season, good for third on the team. Top 7 hitters for Kentucky, all hitting above 300. The number 1 team in the SEC at 328 as a team. Going up against the team in Alabama with an SEC best ERA of 1.68. It's 0-2.
Being able to execute the little things is going to be another key for Kentucky today. You saw Tatum Spangler turning to square to lay down that sacrifice bunt, but because of the speed of Montana FOUTS pitches, she was not able to get that ball down in fair territory. So she's going to have a productive out to move Kowalik over into scoring position.
Well, one thing, obviously you're going to be fired up getting the first hit of the Super Regional, but we had a chance to watch every pitch that Montana FOUTS threw in the Tuscaloosa Regional, and there were not very many hard hit balls against Montana FOUTS, and only 7 hits in her 2 games. Spinning foul, and we'll do it again 1-2.
One of the things that made her so dominant last weekend in the regional was her ability to get ahead of batters. When she gets ahead in the count and establishes that early, she's able to throw those rise balls out of the zone, the drop ball low in the zone, and those pitches are really hard to get solid barrel on.
There's the strikeout for out number 1, strikeout number 304 on the season for FOUTS. 1 away.
And this is a really great pitch. Look at the spin, how tight the spin is in that late break, breaking away from the left-handed Tatum Spangler. Again, an unproductive out after you got the leadoff runner of Kayla Kowalik on board. She was not able to get down the sacrifice bunt and move her 60 feet. A big-time pitch for FOUTS to keep her at 1.
Lauren Johnson fouls it off for strike one. Johnson, the senior, .350 on the season, playing in left field, 6 hits in the Lexington Regional. These two teams have met 4 times this season. Kentucky took 2 out of 3 in the regular season in Lexington. It's 0-2, and then Alabama knocked off Kentucky 5-1 in the SEC tournament. Take note of how hard Montana Fouts is throwing. 72 miles an hour in the first inning. And if the past is our guide, that will be her number in the 6th and 7th inning. That's how she has been operating over the past month as Alabama's won 16 in a row. The throw from Hemphill sails into center field. Stolen base for Kowalik. That's her 23rd of the season. She's in scoring position with 1 down.
Well, Eric, in the open, we talked about putting pressure on the defense, and that's exactly what speed's going to do. Kayla Kowalik, a ton of speed over there. Bailey Hemphill trying to throw that ball from her knees and just launches it straight into center field. Savannah Woodard had no shot of catching that one. Kowalik moving easily over into scoring position.
Johnson checked, the appeal confirms it.
And Eric, you mentioned the speed of Montana Fouts and how fast she throws. Typically, batters will move to the back of the box to give themselves more time, but look at where Lauren Johnson is setting up. She's in the middle of the box. She is crowding that chalk line. She is not intimidated by that velocity at all.
And she's someone who has battled Montana Fouts recently.
Oh, absolutely. Back in that SEC tournament, she had I believe it was a 12-pitch at-bat. She ended up working a walk, but she fouled off pitch after pitch after pitch and battled, and it was even a longer at-bat than you would normally think a 12-pitch at-bat would be, because there was an instant replay being utilized in the SEC tournament that ended up going her way.
Little roller back to Fouts. Kowalik will take third as Johnson's retired, 2 down. That was a 7-pitch at-bat worked by Johnson, moving the runner over for freshman Erin Koffel.
You can see high fives all the way around for Lauren Johnson coming back into the dugout, wanting to make Montana Fouts work in the circle, have her throw a lot of pitches early on in this game. She's somebody who just has been dominant and has gotten better as the season has gone on. 10 or more strikeouts in the last 13 of her last 15 games. Just so impressive.
16-game winning streak for Alabama to get to 48 wins on the season. Fouts in the regional. 2 complete games, gave up 7 hits, of course no runs, a couple of walks, and 28 strikeouts. Here's Koffel. Second team all-conference selection in the SEC. All-freshman team started every game as a true freshman for Kentucky this year at shortstop. Kowalik started with a single, stole second, moved to third on the ground out. Fouts ahead, 1-2.
Erin Koffel chasing after that rise ball, up and inside. And that pitch was set up by the drop ball low and away. So after taking a look at that drop ball on the outside half of the plate, all of a sudden that rise ball inside that's already coming in 72 miles an hour, looks like it's coming in even faster than that.
Check their swing, it's 2-2. Now, to Madison's point about Montana Fouts working ahead, went to a 1-2 count on all 4 hitters she's faced so far.
There's a really good looking drop ball on the outside half of the plate. Maybe just a little low in the zone, but that one was really close to take, and I think the stands here really wanted that one called.
You think? 2-2. Popped up and out of play into the small but vocal contingent from Big Blue Nation.
Now, one thing we learned from regionals last weekend is as a fan here at the Rhodes House, you really have to be on your toes. And so far, we're seeing great catches by the fans. Look at that, hiding the ball. She wants it.
Yeah, there was a little talk. Do I have to give this back? And then the armpit hiding hidden ball trick usually doesn't work out too well in softball. 2-2 again. This one's on the infield. Maddie Morgan at third puts it away, and Kowalik is left stranded at third. Heading to the home half. In the leadoff spot, setting the table for the SEC Player of the Year, Bailey Hemphill, who bats in the number 2 spot with Kaylee Tao and Jenna Johnson following in this lineup for Alabama.
Bailey Hemphill has just been so impressive all season long, and one of my favorite quotes from Coach Patrick Murphy is that she has an unslumpable swing, and that is because her ability to hit every single pitch that's thrown at her, she is so strong. She has such a good eye up at the plate. That's why she's been so consistent for this Alabama squad this year.
In the circle for Kentucky, Autumn Humes gets the call.
Autumn Humes is a veteran, and she is resilient, and she is a fighter out there in the circle. She has a drop ball, curve ball combination, so she really likes to work down in the zone. She's more of a pitch to contact type of pitcher, so that's really where her defense is going to have her back and play clean D behind her.
And the pressure starts right from the very top of the order for Alabama. Alexis Mack, now the team leader, and hitting at .428 after going 7 for 12 in the Tuscaloosa Regional, will lead things off. Mack, a first-team selection in the SEC, has a 12-game hitting streak. She'll use the bunt, she'll use the slap, she'll do whatever it takes to use that speed to get down the line at first. 2-0.
You can see already the Kentucky defense playing really far in, challenging Alexis Mack to hit the ball past them. With her speed, that's where you have to play in order to try to make those plays against her.
Can't connect, and it's 2-1. Mack, during this 16-game winning streak for Alabama, has 26 hits in 55 at-bats, .473 average. That's raised her average up to .428 on the season. That just misses. It's 3-1. Humes wondering where it was. There's a strike, 3-2. Humes' last start was the first elimination game against Notre Dame on Sunday, a 3-hit shutout. Came back and threw 2/3 of an inning in the final game of that regional. Ended up giving you 19 hits, 11 runs, 6 of those 11 earned. Gives you an idea about Kentucky's defense. Needs to be really clean here against Alabama. Humes ready with the 3-2. To third. That's how you do it defensively to get things started for Kentucky. Stoddard over to Mallory Payton, 1 down.
That's a great way to get things started, just like you said, Eric. Miranda Stoddard really challenging Alexis Mack, playing so far in. Watches that one all the way into her glove, makes the nice, easy throw over to first base. You notice how she doesn't rush the throw. That's what's going to happen with the speed, is sometimes infielders try to make that throw too fast, and because of that, they end up bobbling the ball. But Miranda Stoddard doing a nice job fielding it cleanly, having a good solid rhythm, and firing over to first.
Ball 1 to Bailey Hemphill. .415 on the season with 12 homers, 52 runs batted in. You can see just the short list of her accolades for the Crimson Tide. 1-1. Really, one of the keys, too, for Rachel Lawson was making sure Hemphill is at the plate with nobody on base. You know, you don't want that extra pressure put on your pitchers and on your defense here, because she's only struck out 7 times all year. So you know the ball's going to be put in play.
Yes. And when there's nobody on base ahead of her, obviously you can play around with the pitches and maybe moving the ball outside of the zone a little bit more. It's a little easier to give up that free pass when nobody's on base versus when there's people on base in front of Hemphill. And of course, she is somebody who's been able to step up and be a big-time RBI producer for this squad. And Autumn Humes going right at Bailey Hemphill, working that ball on the outside half of the plate, mixing speeds, trying to keep this drop ball low in the zone. Good tight spin, good hold by Kayla Kowalik back there as well.
Popped up. Humes calls for it. 2 down.
Kentucky fans are fired up after that one because they know that's a big out, because Bailey Hemphill can still do damage even when there's nobody on base. And Autumn Humes decided to go to the rise ball there, and I think it was set up with those drop balls and those off speeds early on in that at-bat, catching Bailey Hemphill by surprise, working that ball up and inside, and a nice easy pop-up for the second out.
Here's Kaylee Tao. Grounded foul. You touched on it a little bit in the scouting report on Autumn Humes. For her to beat Alabama today, what does she need to do? And more importantly, what does she need to avoid?
She needs to spin the ball. She needs to keep the ball on the corners, not let that drop ball get too far over the heart of the plate or too far elevated in the zone. When I watched their regional last weekend in that first game against Notre Dame, Kentucky made some defensive mistakes, but Notre Dame was hitting the ball really solid, and it's because that drop ball was up in the zone. When that pitch is up in the zone, it's really easy to get your barrel underneath it and hit those balls into the gap. But here already to start off this super regional game, Humes is working that drop ball down at the knees with a lot of spin and a lot of late movement. And I think that's going to be a key, along with her off speed, to try to keep them off balance.
There's a strike to the Kentucky native, Kaylee Tao, who is 2 for 9 in the Tuscaloosa Regional. 365 on the season. Humes with a great start for Kentucky. Gets the strikeout, a 1-2-3 inning for Autumn Humes in the circle.
Autumn Humes fired up, working the drop balls low in the zone, setting them up with the rise ball up. She's
that Alabama's playing in it and Patrick Murphy is coaching in it, because they are perfect when it comes to getting to the supers, trying to get back to Oklahoma City, where they won it all back in 2012. They won the SEC tournament here on this field here just a couple of weeks ago. 1,145 wins. Alabama started the season 19-0. So did Rachel Lawson's Kentucky team, a 19-0 start, 43 wins on the season in her 14th year, and 12 straight 30-win seasons when you exclude last year's shortened season, trying to get Kentucky to the Women's College World Series for a second time. She, as a player, went there back in the day, as they like to say. Not too far back, Rachel, promise. 1992 Women's College World Series, helping to lead UMass to Oklahoma City. Good start for Lawson's team, certainly against the top of the order for Alabama. Now FOUTS working to 5, 6, and 7 for Kentucky. Mallory Payton, Renee Abernathy, and Autumn Humes.
And you'll notice as soon as Mallory Payton gets in the box, when she grips the bat with that right hand, her top 2 fingers are off of the bat when she goes to swing. And that's because in their series against Alabama back towards the beginning of the season, she was hit by a pitch. So she was out for a couple of weeks after that, and she has just learned to adjust to dealing with that injury on her finger and adjusting her grip on the bat. And she's still been able to be successful even with that finger hanging off the bat.
And plays first base, so has adjusted throwing a little bit as well, but whatever it takes to keep playing when you're a senior. And it's something that's going to require some attention after the season, but making it work right now. And here they are in the supers as it's fouled off by Payton. who had a good regional, 6 of 17 with 5 runs batted in. So, you know, you can do it with 9 fingers, as she has proved.
Yes. Well, and because of that finger hanging off of the bat, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Montana FOUTS maybe trying to work that ball high and inside to challenge her to see if she can get those hands through on those high-velocity inside pitches.
That's what she does right there, and the hands got through and fouled it off.
And if that foul ball's any indication, I would say that Mallory Payton can get her hands to the high and inside pitch, coming in 72 miles per hour.
Lays off, it's 2-2. Payton does have some pop, 12 homers this year, 43 in her Kentucky career.
Looks like a good hold over there on the drop ball.
Two to Payton. Called strike 3, strikeout number 2 for FOUTS, 1 away. With 1 down here in the second, we check in with Chris in the studio. All right, Chris and Jen, thanks very much. Really, yesterday, if that's an indication of what's to come, anything's going to happen because the visiting team won the first 2 games, Florida State and then Virginia Tech. And this is for ball 1, 1-1 to Renee Abernathy, the junior center fielder at .358 on the season. I think the Virginia Tech result, if you've watched Keely Rochard, not a surprise, but to do it in the super regional round in Los Angeles and convincingly like that with 12 strikeouts, that was an eye-opener.
I was so impressed watching Keely Rochard yesterday. And she's somebody really I've been impressed with all season long, but when I look at that game specifically, the swings and misses that she was getting on pitches that were way out of the zone, that rise ball must have been jumping like crazy. She's somebody who utilizes that spin as well. Doesn't have a ton of velocity, but that rise ball was jumping so far out of the zone, and she got UCLA to swing and miss at that pitch all day long.
Now to play off the bat of Abernathy, evening the count at 2-2. So that game will be 9 o'clock Eastern time tonight on ESPN2. We have a full day and night of softball just getting started here in Tuscaloosa. UCLA facing elimination against Virginia Tech tonight. And before that game, it'll be Florida State trying to knock LSU out of the tournament and earn a spot in the Women's College World Series. Catherine Sandercock with a 2-hit shutout in Baton Rouge last evening. 2-2. Abernathy stays alive.
Looks like Bailey Hemphill's getting a little beat up back there behind the plate on these drop ball foul balls. Drop ball low in the zone, hitting her right in the thigh and then bounces over to the other thigh.
You know, check the calendar. It's May the 28th, and Kowalik and Hemphill have caught so many pitches and they've caught so many foul tips that they are beat up. That's up high. It's 3-2. You just try to fight through it. You just try to suck it up for another week and a half or so, or however long you can make it, and then relax after that a little bit.
They've been working all year long to make it to the World Series, so I'm sure that there is a ton of adrenaline pumping between both of these catchers.
Good at bat for Abernathy with 1 down here in the second. Abernathy has been a clutch performer for Kentucky. Hit .500 in the regional with a home run, 3 doubles in that series. Someone who did not have a lot of at-bats heading into this season, but has made the most of them this year and is a key contributor to Kentucky.
Yeah, Abernathy only had 6 at-bats during the 2019 season. Coach Lawson said she would have gotten more last season. Obviously, COVID cut the season short, but she is somebody who just learns from every single at-bat that she takes, and that's where Kentucky might have a little bit of an advantage in this Super Regional, having faced FOUTS so many times already this season.
9th pitch of the at-bat is tapped back to FOUTS. 2 down. I want to just make sure, because I pride myself on accuracy, 9:30 Eastern time tonight, because, we're not going to turn off the TV.
No,
we're going to be watching
it is
all
on
night. But
softball.
just because I just want everybody on the same page. 9:30 Eastern tonight, Virginia Tech and UCLA. What a place to get things started. Full capacity, sold out here today and tomorrow. So that's over 3,900 fans packed into the Rhodes House and out on the Brickyard and wrapped around into center field and the berm and standing room, and people driving a little slower on the highway up beyond the Brickyard just to take a peek in here. Big event here in Tuscaloosa as the NCAA Super Regionals make their return after a year away. 1-1 to the pitcher, Humes. And that is one thing Kentucky does. Their pitchers, their top 2 pitchers, Humes and Grace Ballman, will hit for themselves. One and 2.
I think being able to have the ability to have the pitcher's perspective when you go up to the plate helps you get a little bit of a leg up on where the pitchers might want to throw in certain counts, and she's taking that information with her up there. I guess it's the unicorns is what Amanda Scarborough likes to call them, being able to utilize the information both up at the plate and in the circle to give you an advantage.
Another 1-2 pitch from Montana FOUTS Madison, and it's strikeout number 3 for the junior, who retires aside.
Montana FOUTS again working early in the count, getting ahead, staying ahead, working this rise ball up in the zone. We're still knotted up, nothing, headed to the bottom of the second.
Lexington Regional, Kentucky beat Northwestern 3-2 to open a regional. Then they lost to Notre Dame 12-3. Kentucky, not only did they dig themselves a hole, it was a crater that they had to crawl out of after getting run-ruled by Notre Dame.
Oh man, they had some defensive miscues. Notre Dame was hitting the ball hard all game long, but they really picked it up and they were able to come back, and that's what's so impressive about, you look at the loss, second team to suffer a 9+ run loss in advance to the Super Regional, second team to suffer a run rule loss in regionals in advance to Super Regional. So they really had their backs up against the wall, had to fight their way through the losers bracket, but they were able to do that and get 2 wins against Notre Dame on Sunday, both of which were shutout wins. So their pitching really stepped up, their defense stepped up, and they got that timely hitting.
Went over Northwestern 7-2, then back-to-back shutouts at Notre Dame 7-0, 4-0 to earn a spot in their 8th Super Regional and their 4th straight. 1-1 the count to Jenna Johnson, leading things off for Alabama here in the second. I think a number 2 that stood out for Kentucky, and they had their ups and downs this season where they were trying to find some rhythm, but they never went on a long losing streak. In fact, they had a longest losing streak of the season of 2 games. And that just tells you that they had that kind of resilient, that stopper mentality, like, okay, we're not going to get swept in the series. We may not win the series. In fact, the first series that they won was Alabama when they took 2 out of 3 from the Crimson Tide. So this is a group that may fall behind a little bit, but will fight back. Humes gets a strikeout, 1 down.
I think the fight that you see from this Kentucky team all season long, it starts in the circle with Autumn Humes. She knows what happened just 2 short weeks ago here on this exact same field against Alabama at the SEC tournament, and she is out there just dealing these pitches, working ahead in the count, not intimidated by these hitters at all, and already working that rise ball up in the zone, knowing that Alabama likes to pound the ball straight into the ground. Really like her utilizing that spin, working it all through the zone and not being predictable so far here in the bottom of the second.
Starts with strike 1 to KB Sides, the senior at 336 on the season. So back-to-back strikeouts from Humes. Got Tao to end the first, gets Johnson to start the second. 1-1. One final thought when we brought up to Rachel Lawson, you know, your longest losing streak this season was 2 games. She was surprised by that, right? She's like, and in fact, she said, that shocks me because she has that mindset of like, well, I don't think things are going right. She's a bit of a perfectionist, and she says she's trying to work on her message and filtering the message as sides can't get that, and it's 1-2.
Well, I think she just has a high standard for her team, and she knows their potential. She knows what she sees every single day in practice, and once they're good at something, she wants them to be great at something, and I think that's another reason. Again, that mentality is why they have not lost more than 2 games in a row this entire season, because Coach Lawson demands perfection out of her team.
Humes, 3 in a row, 2 down.
Humes just continues to deal out there in the circle, working ahead, then this rise ball. So not only is it working up in the zone, but it's also tailing away from these left-handed batters. She's got tight spin on that pitch, and Kayla Kowalik back there behind the plate is fired up, knowing that Autumn Humes is throwing so well in this game.
Humes now with 148 strikeouts in 179 innings of work this year. 40th appearance of the season for the senior, who again starts with strike 1 to Savannah Woodard. Oh, 2. Woodard at 301 on the season. Did not start the season at second base. Bailey Dowling played 25 games. Went down with a knee injury. Big part of the Alabama story this year, losing their middle infield and battling back after losing Claire Jenkins and Bailey Dowling. And Woodard, along with Taylor Clark, stepped in and stepped up for the 2 injured teammates who went down this year.
Well, we talked about the resiliency of this Kentucky team being able to fight back in that regional, but Alabama's a team that has really shown that fight all season long. They've embraced that next man up mentality. You mentioned a couple of those injuries that were so unfortunate to this team, but they celebrated in the fact that their teammates were able to step up and do so well in those roles behind them.
Humes misses inside. It's 2-2.
That one just barely missing. On the inside half of the plate, Kentucky fans wanting that one called for a strike. Woodard crowding the plate. Humes challenging her inside, and that one just barely missing in the river over there.
That one doesn't. Autumn Humes strikes out the side. 4 strikeouts in a row. For more information on how you can get tickets, go to ncaa.com/WCWS, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Riley Smith leads things off for Kentucky here in the top half of the 3rd inning. Smith, Stoddard, then back to Kowalik at the top of the order for Kentucky. One 1 to Smith. Sophomore from St. Louis, hitting better than 300 on the season. Member of the all-newcomer team in the SEC this year. Had great success in the win against Alabama that won the series for Kentucky against the Crimson Tide earlier this season. Lays down the bunt. It's a great one, and Smith has the 2nd hit of the game, leading off for Kentucky here in the 3rd.
And this is exactly why Riley Smith is in this lineup, to utilize her speed. She's a triple threat from the left-handed side, so that's why these infielders for Alabama can't play her too close, because she will swing away. She drops down a textbook bunt right there in front of home plate. Great touch, doesn't push it too hard, and gives her enough time to reach base safely down at first.
Now Stoddard, the number 9 hitter, squares the bunt, pulls back for ball 1.
And we saw Kentucky trying to execute that sacrifice bunt back in the first inning after Kayla Kowalik led off with that base hit up the middle. Tatum Spangler wasn't able to get it down, ended up striking out, so an unproductive out. Miranda Stoddard looking to move her over into scoring position.
Throwing back behind Smith with Woodard trying to sneak in.
Hemphill with a quick snap throw. Savannah Woodard coming in behind, just not getting there in time.
Popped up, but out of play, and it's 1-2. So Stoddard unsuccessful attempting to bunt Riley Smith over.
Yeah, so if you're Stoddard now, you're doing whatever you can just to put the ball on the ground, put the ball in play to try to move Riley Smith on over into scoring position.
Count evens up at 2-2. Stoddard 208 on the season, was 2 of 11 in the Lexington Regional. Big spot here. It has been very difficult to score on Montana FOUTS and this Alabama pitching staff. A 30-inning scoreless streak as she works here in the third. That's chopped back up the middle, and the force at second will get the lead runner, Riley Smith. Stoddard at first with the fielder's choice, 1 down.
Well, Stoddard put the ball on the ground, but that was about the one place on the field where they were not going to be able to advance Riley Smith over into scoring position. A really nice play by Savannah Woodard over at second base, who was already pinched up the middle. She charges this ball, steps on the base, and able to get the lead runner out. So another unproductive out for Kentucky, leaving that runner over at first base.
Back to the top of the order. Here's Kayla Kowalik. Solid single to lead things off in the first. They hit her 99th of the season, leading the country in that category, raising her batting average to .500 for the year. 101.
You can take a look at where Kayla Kowalik's eyes are in between pitches. She is trying to read the defense, figuring out how they're going to pitch her, how they're going to play her. And you'll notice the right side of the infield is pushed back and the left side of the infield is crowding. And what that tells you as a slapper is that they're going to try to work the outside part of the plate to see if they can induce a ground ball to the left side, either to third base or to shortstop, to get a little bit of an easier out. But Kayla Kowalik is somebody who has a lot of power potential up at the plate as well. She can swing away, she can bunt, she can slap. And she's always trying to figure out ways to beat the defense with all her different tools.
Count runs full to Kowalik with 1 down and 1 on. FOUTS gets her, the runner goes, and Stoddard's in safely with a stolen base.
A really nice pitch by Montana FOUTS, knowing how good Kayla Kowalik is up at the plate, staying on the outside part of the plate. And Kentucky being aggressive early in this ball game, trying to catch Bailey Hemphill sleeping on the strike him out, throw him out, but Stoddard able to get that left hand in there just before Savannah Woodard is able to put down that tag. So Kentucky moving a runner into scoring position.
A little bit of a surprise, just the second stolen base in as many attempts for Miranda Stoddard. 61st stolen base as a team for Kentucky. She's in scoring position for Tatum Spangler. One on one. Spangler was in the bottom of the Kentucky lineup earlier this season, but worked her way towards the top. Third on the team in hitting coming into the Super Regional.
I think one of the reasons why she's continued to work her way on up in the lineup is her eye up the plate. A couple of good takes on those rise balls up and out of the zone here to work herself ahead in the count to Montana Fouts, which is something that rarely happens, especially in this postseason.
Ground ball back up the middle of the base hit. Spangler being waved around. Brown up and throwing. It's off the mark, and Kentucky has the lead. Hemphill's throw flies into center field. Brown was there to back it up, and the Kentucky Wildcats break through against Alabama. The first run given up by the Crimson Tide here in this NCAA tournament.
That hit right there just shows you how important it is to move runners over into scoring position. Stoddard getting there by the stolen base. Spangler is somebody who crowds the plate, challenges those pitchers to throw her inside, but instead they go away. She doesn't try to do too much with it, pokes it right back up the middle, and Kentucky gets on the board first here in the Supers.
Strike one to Lauren Johnson. So Spangler took second on the throw. So she's in scoring position now with two down. Johnson could not check. Fouts gets the strikeout. That's her fifth, but a key two-out hit from Tatum Spangler to put Kentucky on the scoreboard.
Spangler getting things started for the Wildcats, driving this ball right back up the middle to score Miranda Stoddard from second base. Kentucky up 1-0 headed into the bottom of the third. Batters, and I think it's catching them by surprise. And talking to Coach Lawson before this Super Regional, she watched the regional last weekend. Alabama going up against Valerie Cagle from Clemson, somebody who has a hard drop ball down in the zone, and Alabama batters were using that pitch down in the zone to their advantage, pounding it straight into the ground. So I think Autumn Humes coming out with that rise ball is really catching them by surprise.
She struck out 4 in a row as we hit the bottom third of the Alabama lineup. Adjustments that Alabama needs to make against Humes, if that's her approach in the circle right now.
Well, I think they need to be more aggressive early in the count and not let her throw that pitch way out of the zone. She's getting ahead early, staying ahead. And these Bama batters have just been keeping their bats on their shoulder, waiting until they fall behind and then trying to swing at that rise ball. They need to attack her early and just put the ball in play to try to make something happen.
There's a strike to Morgan. It's 1-1.
If you're Maddie Morgan, that's the pitch that you want to hit about thigh high on the outside half of the plate. But Humes again just trying to work her way ahead against these batters.
Up high, and it's a pop-up back behind second base. Calling for it is Erin Koffel. Put it away for out number one. Back to Chris in the studio. All right, now in the third game of the tournament, Chris and Jen, visiting team is in front, much like the two games last night. Down low for ball one to Taylor Clark. Only 3 balls have been put in play so far by Alabama. Mack is the only one to put it on the ground so far, which really, we talked about right at the top of the telecast. Alabama putting the ball on the ground, making Kentucky's defense work, putting some pressure on them, having them make plays. As it counts now 2-0 was going to be a key, and they've been unable to do that so far against Humes.
Well, and Humes is typically not your strikeout pitcher. She's more of your pitch to contact, try to work the ball on the ground, but already you see her attacking a different part of the strike zone, knowing that that was going to be Alabama's game plan coming into this game.
This one is lifted out to right field with the wind blowing out to right, but reaching up and getting it is Spangler for out number 2.
Spangler with a fantastic catch over there in right field. We saw her make one last weekend in regionals going up against the fence. She gets a good jump on this one. Well hit off the bat of Taylor Clark going away all the way into the fence. A nice job of tracking it, not being intimidated by that wall out there, catching the ball first and then reaching out for the wall. And her team was pumped up after making that one.
Here is Brown, who fouls it off. You see Kowalik jumping out from behind the plate, because you've got to move quickly and decisively when Alyssa Brown is at the plate. She's got great speed, and she is on a run right now. First team all-conference selection, an 11-game hitting streak, 5 hits, and 5 runs scored in the Tuscaloosa Regional. One-on-one.
Brown is so good in that 9 spot for Alabama. She's really just like a second leadoff batter, and her job in that 9 spot is to turn the lineup over to Alexis Mack and try to get on base to set the table for Bailey Hemphill and Kaylee Tao.
Alabama trailing 1-0. They have not trailed at the end of a completed inning in 109 consecutive innings. A streak that will end here if the Crimson Tide do not score a run. Brown too short. Koffels' first attempt. Good stretch at first by Payton to get the out. 9 up, 9 down, and Kentucky has the lead after 3 complete over Alabama.
How about the good D showing out for Kentucky? Aaron Koffel firing this one over. Kentucky up 1-0.
Best of luck rest of the way. Rachel Lawson, the head coach for Kentucky in her 14th year, and she referenced the 15 strikeouts. That was what Montana FOUTS had in the SEC tournament in the 5-1 win for Alabama over Kentucky here at Rhodes Stadium. But Kentucky building a little confidence here. 3 complete. Ready for the top half of the 4th inning, and here is Aaron Koffel to lead things off against FOUTS. Hard hit ball, but foul. That was pitch number 66 for Montana FOUTS. Kentucky's done a good job working counts and making FOUTS work here in this game.
They have fouled off a ton of pitches, and I think it's because they're being aggressive early in the count, knowing that FOUTS is somebody who likes to get ahead, and she stays around the strike zone as well. So a lot of times when you're facing somebody like FOUTS, the best pitch you might see in that bat is probably going to be the first one, because she likes to work ahead.
Fifth time that Alabama and Kentucky are meeting this season. 2 wins for Kentucky, 2 wins for Alabama. Another 1-2 count for FOUTS. It's been a very familiar number for her throughout this game so far. Junior from Grayson, Kentucky, gets the strikeout. That's her 6th one away.
And I really like this drop ball out of the hand of Fouts. Typically somebody who is known for that rise ball up in the zone, but this is a pitch that I think she has really perfected this year, working down in the zone. She gets hitters to guess that she's going to work up and out with that rise ball, throws that pitch right there about thigh high, dropping off the table, along with the velocity that she brings. It's a really nice pitch.
Strike one to Peyton, who struck out in the second. Grounder to third. Maddie Morgan throws on to Kaylee Tao. 2 down. With 2 down, I get a chance to remind you that Saturday afternoon college softball makes its historic debut on ABC. It's top-ranked Oklahoma hosting Washington in their Super Regional Series in Norman. Coverage starts 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. You can also watch it on the ESPN app. Thrilled to watch that one as they get set to bring softball to ABC. And what you need to know about Oklahoma, among many things, is that they've hit 142 home runs this year. That's a lot.
They can hit the long ball consistently. They have been so impressive all season long. But they're going up against a very good Gabby Plain that pitches for Washington. She likes to throw that drop ball and that rise ball combination. So I think it's going to be a really good challenge for Oklahoma, and can't speak to enough how big of a deal it is for the sport of softball to have that ABC window. Just so excited for these games this weekend.
Popped up, foul ground, and out of play by Abernathy. Gabby Plain for Washington with 331 strikeouts. That's first in the country. You'll see game 1 of Washington and Oklahoma after us on ESPN2. Plain's got first. Fouts is trying to catch up here. 309 strikeouts for Fouts as she works here in the 4th. Abernathy grounded back to Fouts in the second. The key hit, RBI single from Tatum Spangler in the 3rd. Abernathy tried to check. Third base umpire Jim Cooper says she did.
The fans are really wanting that call. Let's take a look at it. Ooh.
Perhaps the fans could have gotten that call.
The fans might have been right on that one.
Barely getting a piece, but it got a big piece of Hemphill again, and for the second time today, this one looks like it maybe caught her in the hand. It did.
It's the foul balls on the drop ball. Again, this one working down in the zone. Looks like it got a piece of Hemphill and the umpire.
Yeah. Launches one to center field. That is way out of here. A solo shot puts Kentucky on top, 2-0.
Renee Abernathy has been so clutch all postseason. In a 2-strike count, she comes up big for the Wildcats yet again. knowing that Montana FOUTS, her pitches are going to supply the power. This is a rise ball on the outside half of the plate. She takes her barrel straight to it and drives that thing way out of here over the center field wall. And I don't think we can classify that as a home run trot. It's almost like a home run sprint, running around the bases to get to her teammates, because she knows just how big that swing was.
Said it before, Abernathy's had some key hits this year. Comes up here in the Super Regionals, Game 1, home run number 12 on the season. And that was a good battle at the dish. That was an 8-pitch at-bat, a theme that we've seen here for Kentucky, making Montana FOUTS work. And now Alabama working from behind.
You know, I was just thinking during that at-bat as well, we had mentioned how a lot of these batters were moving up in the box, not intimidated by the speed of these pitches. And I think a lot of it has to do with the late break that Montana FOUTS has as well. They're trying to move up in the box to catch that ball before it breaks. That's why we've seen so many foul balls. And they're working to get all of that information in every single one of that in their at-bats. And Abernathy able to come through clutch. And they're a big-time home run hitting team. Again, you see those 77 home runs on the season by Kentucky so far this year. That I don't think none bigger than the one we just saw off the bat of Renee Abernathy.
That caught Humes at 0-2. Kentucky hit 71 home runs back in 2019 when they advanced on the Super Regionals against Washington. Now extending that school record from 76 to 77 thanks to the Abernathy home run. 1-2.
More foul balls that we're seeing from Kentucky, and I think Humes has hit herself with the foul ball twice so far in this at-bat. A big smile on her face, because I think that one managed to hit her back leg somehow on that swing.
Called strike 3 to retire the side, but not before Renee Abernathy goes deep to center to put Kentucky on top 2-0.
Abernathy getting all of this rise ball, blasting it way out of the park. Kentucky up 2-0 headed to the bottom of the 4th. As this game goes on.
Probably just a little. The home run looked like it was right down the middle, but I'm not sure if she struck out on 2 pitches before that. But just better corners, better location right now would probably be the best thing for her.
We'll keep an eye out for it. Thanks, Patrick.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Patrick Murphy, in front of a full house here on a Friday afternoon, noon Eastern time, noon Central Time start. And there you see Montana FOUTS in the dugout. You know, we've talked about Alabama last week in the SEC tournament and during the season about being resilient and battling back, and that's being put to the test right now in Game 1 of the Super Regionals as they look for their first hit, batting here in the bottom half of the 4th inning, back to the top of the order for Alexis Mack.
I think for both of these teams, the key is going to be to not go into panic mode. If you're Kentucky, got to keep playing the way you've been playing, play loose, play free, and you can't go out there and play not to lose, because that's a completely different mentality. It's a passive mentality, and if you're Alabama, you can't go up there playing tight because you know that there's something on the line here. You just got to keep doing what has gotten you to this point, what has brought you to Super Regionals. And I think Coach Patrick Murphy said it exactly right. It is getting people on base, trying to put pressure on the defense and swinging earlier in the count.
And it starts with Mack, the leadoff hitter who grounded to third her first time. Only 2 balls on the ground so far off the bat of Alabama. Mack in the first and Brown in the third, who grounded to short. Two and two. It starts with getting someone on base, because that's when the pressure starts to get dialed up a little bit for Alabama offensively, especially with Hemphill on deck.
Well, and if you're Alabama too, this is the second time through the lineup, and here in the bottom of the 4th inning, this is exactly where you want to start to make adjustments with the leadoff batter up. Mack's already fouling off a couple of pitches, but you're exactly right. They need to try to do whatever they can to hit these balls down into the ground.
Ground ball to second. Easy chance for Emmy Blaine, and Mack is retired. 1 down in the 4th. Back to Chris in the studio. Such a big day. We're happy to get things going today. Still have Washington, Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Arkansas, James Madison, Missouri, all getting started in the super regional round. Here is Hemphill with the bases empty and 1 down in the 4th. One and one. Autumn Humes with the 3rd best single season win total in Kentucky program history. 22 wins as Hemphill lines 1 to left, and there's the first hit of the game for Alabama.
Eric, I was watching those pitches, the first 2 pitches of that at-bat. Autumn Humes working on the outside half of the plate. Before that pitch, saw Kayla Kowalik set up inside, and you just knew that Bailey Hemphill was going to be ready to turn on it, and she gets all of this ball, driving it right off of the glove of Miranda Stoddard at third base, who was playing back behind the base. But she hits the ball so hard, it's able to go on out into left field to get a runner on board for Bama.
Hemphill will give way to a pinch runner. Kat Grill is on first, and here is Kaylee Tao. Tao struck out in the first. One of 4 strikeouts for Autumn Humes. One and one.
Eric, I think you can just feel it in the stadium right now that this is a key at-bat going up against Kaylee Tao. Hemphill hit that ball on a line, but it did not leave the yard. So again, puts pressure on Kaylee Tao to be able to come through and keep this inning going, keep that momentum going for Alabama here as this game goes on.
Hemphill delivered the first hit for Alabama after Humes had retired the first 10 Crimson Tide batters she faced. Heading to count 1 and 2 on Tao. Alabama has been aggressive on the base paths. 85 stolen bases this season. They were 10 for 11 in the Tuscaloosa Regional. Tao with a slow roller to Koffel. This is trouble, and 2 are on with 1 out for Alabama. Now this crowd's starting to get into it.
And this is exactly what Alabama needed to happen. This is a good pitch by Autumn Humes. Kaylee Tao strikes out in her at-bat before. Here she puts the ball in play, puts the pressure on the defense. And now Kentucky's really feeling the pressure out there because so far this game, there's been nobody on base. That was the first ball that was put in play with a runner on board for Alabama. And again, not much you can do on that one but charge it and try to fire it over to first base. But the advantage of being from the left side is you are one step closer to first.
Part of the reason for this little visit in the circle, maybe just to keep the tempo a little slower here, because you could almost feel like Alabama starts getting things rolling a little bit and things get fast on teams.
Absolutely, and the advantage of being able to play at home is you get to use this crowd to your advantage. You're used to playing with this type of atmosphere, and already you're feeling that momentum shifting over to Alabama's dugout. It seems like the dugout and the fans really play off each other over there in that third base dugout.
Jenna Johnson with a solid single to center field. Abernathy up quickly with it, and a hold at third. So the bases are loaded with one out for Alabama. Johnson makes it 3 straight hits for the Crimson Tide.
Jenna Johnson almost hit that ball too hard. She hit it so hard into center field, it did not give Kat Grill a chance to score from second base. She gets all of this, squares it up right on the barrel and drives it back up the middle. But hits so hard again. Grill not able to score, but still fired up. This is what Alabama does. They don't have a ton of power numbers. They're not known for the long ball this year, but they just hit single after single after single, and they wear you down defensively.
Well, Rachel Lawson making a trip to the circle to bring her infield and her battery together to try to slow things down. But the pressure is picking up, and now it's shifted from Alabama to Kentucky. Autumn Humes got Mack to ground out, but Hemphill with a solid single. Tao with an infield single. Johnson with a hard hit single. And here is KB Sides, who struck out in the second. Strike one. Sides, one of 7 seniors in the starting lineup for Alabama, playing in front of a sellout crowd here today, hearing the chant, "Let's go KB." This veteran Alabama group trying to give the people in red what they want. Line drive, Abernathy can't get it. 1 run is in. A second run coming around. Here comes the third. It's cut off, and Alabama takes the lead. A bases clearing triple for the senior who comes through.
This stadium is absolutely wild right now. KB Sides coming up with the bases loaded, down in the count, and she gets a drop ball on the outside half of the plate and just blasts this ball out to center field over the head of Renee Abernathy, who was playing in just a little bit. 3 runs come across, and Coach Patrick Murphy does not even hesitate at all. He is sending them off, because he knows just how important getting that last run across, taking the lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Huge for Bama.
Second time around for the Alabama lineup. And they are connecting against Autumn Humes. 4 straight hits. Here's Woodard. 0-2.
Eric, I can't help but sit here and think back to that at-bat with Bailey Hemphill. I know you have nobody on base. And they said, and Coach Lawson said that was the game plan, to try to get an opportunity to pitch to Bailey Hemphill with nobody on so she couldn't do too much damage. But I think just that one base hit, being able to get that ball into the outfield, really lit a fire underneath this Bama squad.
Called strike 3, 5th strikeout for Humes, 2 down.
Humes, a veteran as well, a great way to respond, to come back and get that strikeout to try to get some of that momentum back into your dugout.
A little armband switch here with the pitch calls on it.
Looks like just switching the signs out. But again, that at-bat to Bailey Hemphill, you wonder if maybe you would have just stayed outside, not even given her anything close to hit, if this would have a different feel in this stadium right now, because as soon as that ball left her bat, it almost seemed like the door busted wide open for Bama, and they knew they had an opportunity to put pressure on the defense, and they have continued to do that so far here in the bottom of the 4th.
Maddie Morgan with 2 down. Takes ball 1. Morgan popped out to short in the 3rd. After an 0 for 10 start at the plate, Alabama then goes 4 for 4 before the Woodard strikeout. 1-1. Tuscaloosa Super Regional at Rhodes Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Sellout crowd has packed the Rhodes House. They watch Kentucky jump out to a 2-0 lead after 3.5, but 3 runs here in this 4th inning for Alabama, who's won 16 in a row to put the Crimson Tide in front for the first time. Eric Freed, 3-time All-American at Tennessee, Madison Shipman, and our entire crew, game 1 of this best-of-3 series. Start of a big day here on the ESPN family of networks. 8 super regional games in all. It's 2-2. Kentucky senior Autumn Humes had retired the first 10 Alabama batters she faced before Bailey Hemphill came through with a hard hit single, an infield hit by Kaylee Tao. Then Jenna Johnson, a hard hit single, and the big hit, KB Sides with a bases clearing triple to put Bama on top. Through the right side, an RBI single for Morgan, 4-2 Alabama.
And another base hit for Bama. That's a product of fouling off pitches, making Autumn Humes work in the circle, getting rid of those marginal pitches that you can't really do a whole lot with until she brings something over the plate. Maddie Morgan crowding the plate, challenging Humes to bring the ball inside. She does exactly that. And Morgan pounds it right through that 3-4 hole to tack on another run for Bama.
That was the hallmark for Kentucky's at-bats against Montana FOUTS. Working counts, making FOUTS work. It paid off with a 2-0 lead. Morgan, the senior, with a great at-bat to bring home KB Sides. And they are making Autumn Humes work. In the first 3 innings, Humes threw a combined 40 pitches. In this inning, she's thrown 32. And the count 0-2 to Taylor Clark.
Well, and Humes was really capitalizing on the fact that Bama was not being aggressive early in the count, and because they were falling behind, because Humes was getting ahead, she was able to work that rise ball up and out of the zone. Here in this inning, Bama being very aggressive on pitches that are even close to the strike zone, knowing that they need to put the ball in play.
Clark checks. You can trace it back to Taylor Clark, and Patrick Murphy talked about it. She had the hardest hit ball of the game so far in the 3rd inning with 1 down. Went to right field, and Spangler made a good play to get the out. Peyton moves over to retire the side, but not before Alabama scores 4 times. Bailey Hemphill got it going. Tao, Johnson, and Sides, followed by Morgan, kept the line moving.
Bama doing what Bama does best, using this home crowd to their advantage. They are fired up. KB Sides with the big-time hit. Bama leading 4-2.
2021 NCAA Softball Championship presented by Capital One. Game 1 of the Tuscaloosa Super Regional. Kentucky had a 2-0 lead until Alabama scored 4 runs on 5 hits in the bottom half of the 4th inning to take the 4-2 lead. KB Sides with the big hit. Now Montana FOUTS working with the lead for the first time, and she starts with strike 1 to Riley Smith as we take a look at the game summary. Hitless until that 4th inning. Alabama comes through after going 0 for 9 at the plate in the first 3 innings. And now the question is, how will Kentucky respond? And also, will Montana FOUTS look a little different now that the energy is in that Alabama dugout? Little energy in that pitch from FOUTS. It's 0-2.
If those first 2 pitches are any indication, I think Montana FOUTS has a little bit more zest on her ball here in the top of the 5th inning.
Riley Smith started the 3rd inning with a bunt single for Kentucky. In that 3rd inning, Tatum Spangler brought in Miranda Stoddard with the game's first run. Renee Abernathy had a solo home run in the 4th inning to put the Wildcats on top 2-0. But now Kentucky trailing for the first time.
Close take on the low and outside half the plate. Not sure where this one missed. Let's take another look at it here. Looks like it tailed over, maybe into the river, outside.
Popped up, foul ground coming on. To get it is Alexis Mack. 1 down here in the 5th inning. 7 Innings Podcast, the weekly softball podcast, has you on the road to the Women's College World Series. Listen now on the ESPN app, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. Crew breaking down Super Regionals, recapping the Regionals, and of course the ever-popular Shaggin' Stats. Keep suggesting bringing up Madison Shipman's accomplishments, playing for Tennessee, those All-American seasons. Eventually they'll get to it. I think they want present-day stats, frankly.
I was going to say, nobody wants to see those
insulted.
stats.
Well, they're pretty impressive.
Nah. Watching these teams play is much more exciting than bringing up old, out-of-date stats.
Well, you're not that old and out-of-date, Madison. Come on. There's Stoddard, who scored the first run 1-1. Fouts with 7 strikeouts. Had 2 strikeouts in the 4th, a couple in the 3rd. And the count 1-2 here to Stoddard with 1 out in the 5th.
And this is where I think Kentucky needs to continue to be aggressive early in these counts. Fouts is not a pitcher that walks a lot of batters. She likes to hang around the outside part of the strike zone. They need to continue to be aggressive, continue to foul off those marginal pitches until Montana Fouts can make a mistake. This is where if you're Kentucky, you do not want to let off of the gas pedal. They've made some good adjustments throughout this game so far to get that 2 spot up on the board. But they need to continue to make those adjustments as this game goes on to keep the pressure on.
Stoddard battling against Fouts. Tried to check, and she did. 2-2.
We've seen a couple of close calls on these check swings. That one close, but I think she held up on that one. Good battle by Stoddard here, fouling off rise balls up in the zone and fouling off drop balls down in the zone. Continue to make Montana Fouts work out there in the circle. See a bunch of pitches. And give that information, pass it along to your teammates.
Well, our friend Dan the Man Ferran, our statistician, is keeping the foul ball count for you. 34 foul balls now off the bats of Kentucky hitters.
So you're saying if you're a fan here in the stadium, you've got to have your head on a swivel. We saw another nice catch by an Alabama fan in the sea of Kentucky fans over there down the right field line.
Also tells you they're making Fouts work, and Fouts wins the battle with Stoddard on the 9th pitch of the at-bat, gets the strikeout. That's number 8. 2 down here in the 5th. Back to the studio, Chris and Jen. All right, Chris, thanks very much. Kowalik lifts the first one to the center fielder, Alyssa Brown, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Montana Fouts. Alabama on top 4-2 after 4.5. One rewarding performance, and Alabama was finally rewarded at the plate in the bottom half of the 4th inning. 4 straight hits. Hemphill, Tao, Johnson, the big hit, the triple from KB Sides to bring in 3.
That's exactly what Alabama has done all season long. They string together the singles one after another, passing that bat along to their teammate. It was KB Sides with the big hit, and then Maddie Morgan following it up, driving this ball out to right field to tack on another run for the Crimson Tide.
9-1-2 for Bama here in the 5th, and it's ball 1 to Alyssa Brown. Brown grounded to short in the third. Two and 0. Two and 1.
I think getting this first out is a big out for Autumn Humes because this is a really tough stretch in the lineup for Alabama. Alyssa Brown basically being that second leadoff. Then Alexis Mack coming in behind her. You've got speed and speed followed up by the power of Bailey Hemphill.
Brown fouled it off. Humes gets a strikeout to start the fifth. That's number 6 for the senior, one down. Take a look at the Super Regional bracket presented by Capital One, with Kentucky and Alabama beginning their series here today in Tuscaloosa. Game 1 in Fayetteville tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern time on ESPNU. Arizona making the trip to Bogle to take on Arkansas, a team that we've seen all year in the SEC. They can swing the bats.
Arkansas, the first team in 12 years to clinch a share of that regular season SEC title that has not been Alabama or Florida. They shared that title this year with Florida, but Arkansas has been impressive all season long. And when I look at that super regional matchup, I can't think about anything but the long ball that we might see in Fayetteville, not just from Arkansas, but from Arizona as well.
Kowalik, good effort, couldn't get to it.
Arizona has Jessie Harper at shortstop, who is chasing the all-time home run record. I believe she's up to 90 career home runs. And then you've got Arkansas, who pretty much just shattered every single home run record for Arkansas this season.
Led at the shortstop position by Braxton Burnside at the plate.
Something about those shortstops, Eric.
Yes.
Something about them.
0-2 to Mack and a liner to Koffel. 2 down.
There's that good solid defense that we needed to see out of Kentucky. Trying to hold this score as it is. Alexis Mack getting a good piece of that ball, just going straight to Koffel at short. Put in the perfect position to be able to field that ball. And a nice job by the true freshman.
2 outs for Hemphill, who got the rally started for Alabama last inning. With the single, she's 1 for 2. Hemphill hit 3 home runs in the SEC tournament here at Rhodes Stadium, 2 coming in that 5-1 win against Kentucky. Now with 62 career home runs. Climbing the charts when you take a look at some of the numbers. Top of the charts in home runs and walks. 235 runs batted in. Puts her second on the all-time list. And a 4-pitch walk with 2 down here in the 5th.
Well, taking a look at what Bailey Hemphill can do with the bat, and this is exactly why we just saw that 4-pitch walk to her. 2 home runs in the SEC tournament off of Kentucky, and then the record-breaking home run off of Sam Bender of Tennessee. She has so much power, so much pop in her bat. She can hit every single pitch that is thrown to her. And I like that idea of just putting her on base here with 2 away, not even giving her a chance to leave the yard.
Kaylee Tao reached on an infield single in the fourth. She's 1 for 2. Off the end of the bat, down to the count, 0-2.
Talking to Coach Lawson before the Super Regional about the strategy of either pitching to or pitching around Bailey Hemphill. She said it's tough because it's not like Kaylee Tao is easy to pitch to either. She's got a lot of power potential. She can hit the ball to all fields, a strong left-handed batter. So really, you really can't take a break in any part of this Alabama offense, and I think that's why it makes it so tough to pitch to them, especially here in the postseason.
Off speed, Humes gets the strikeout. That is number 7 for her. That help keeps it a 2-run game as we head to the 6th. We're here for Kentucky in the 6th. Spangler, Johnson, Koffel to face Montana Fouts. And on the first pitch, Spangler is retired. Back to the studio, Chris and Jen. All right, Chris, thanks very much. Oklahoma 48-2 on the season, 50 runs in their 3 regional wins. We'll have to see if Gabby Plain and that Washington defense led by the great Sis Bates at shortstop can keep it in check in Norman.
We talk a lot about Oklahoma's offense, but Washington has a great offense as well. Sis Bates, Bailey Klingler, Morgan Flores, a lot of good bats in that offense as well.
I mean, we could find something about all 8 super regional series to get excited about,
yes,
and rightly so.
Yes.
And that's a great matchup to put on ABC for the first time ever tomorrow, because you've got Oklahoma just with so many dynamic stars, and the way that through the lineup they can get things done, and can pitching keep that attack quiet will be the big question. And Sis Bates, if you've never seen her, she's a highlight maker at shortstop for Washington.
Well, I think that when, of course, you mentioned the ABC window being just huge for not just that game, but the sport of softball in general. But I think what makes that matchup so interesting as well is because we all know from watching Selection Sunday that Washington was not pleased that they were the 16 seed. And they even walked out of their film room, but they were able to come through that regional with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, like, hey, we should have been seated higher than this. So I think they're going to bring that into this Norman Super Regional as well.
Count now full to Lauren Johnson, who's 0 for 2 today against Fouts. Since the Abernathy home run in the 4th, Fouts has retired 5 in a row. To Morgan at third, make it 6, 2 down.
Fouts has just been battling all game long. These Kentucky batters fouling off a ton of pitches, and they're just inside on the hands of Lauren Johnson. Worked her way to a full count, but just not able to get solid barrel on that pitch. And a good job by Morgan with the solid defense over at third.
Here's the freshman shortstop, Aaron Koffel. That's strike 1 to Koffel, record-setting freshman season for the first-year player from Bremen, Indiana. Second-team all-conference, all-freshman team. See the numbers entering today. She had a 2-run home run that started the comeback in Game 3 of the Alabama series in the regular season. Kentucky was down 4-0, came back to win 5-4. So she's been a spark against Alabama once this season.
She's been such a phenomenal freshman for Kentucky. One of the highest ranked recruits to ever come into this program. And Coach Rachel Lawson couldn't say enough great things, not just about her ability, but also her mentality and how hard she works at her craft every single day. And that is what has led to her success for Kentucky so far this season.
Seven in a row retired by FOUTS. 5.5 done. Alabama on top 4-2, and Montana FOUTS once again getting better as the game goes along.
Montana FOUTS dealing with that drop ball, striking out Koffel to end the inning.
Tuscaloosa Super Regional heading to the bottom half of the 6th inning with Alabama on top 4-2. They are about ready to get started in just a couple of moments in Norman. So Game 1 of the Super Regional between Washington and Oklahoma will start on ESPN News. And when we're done here in Tuscaloosa, we will join that game. Kentucky had a 2-0 lead in the 4th inning, but Alabama with a 4-run bottom half of the 4th inning. The story of this game, 4-2 Bama as they bat here in the 6th. And a fly ball deep in foul ground and out of play off the bat of Jenna Johnson here to lead off the bottom of the 6th. Alabama was not hitting anything hard against Autumn Humes until that 4th inning. Hemphill and Johnson, along with Sides, with some hard hit balls against Humes in that big 4th inning.
Alabama was really passive in their at-bats early on in this game, watching the early strikes go by, setting it up perfectly for Autumn Humes to throw that rise ball up and out of the zone to rack up those strikeouts. But ever since that 4th inning, Bama being very aggressive early in the count. We just saw again with Jenna Johnson here driving that first pitch she saw way deep out of the park in foul territory down the left field line. She's somebody that was involved in that string of hits, hitting the ball so hard right back up the middle that her teammate could not score from second.
Ground ball to deep short off the glove of Koffel into the left field, and Johnson is aboard the leadoff here in the 6th.
And this was the game plan for Bama last weekend in regionals and here in the Super Regionals. Try to put the ball on the ground and put pressure on the defense. And she does exactly this with this ball in the 5-6 hole, tipping off of the glove of Erin Koffel. This is a play that should be made, especially with a right-handed batter up at the plate. As a shortstop, you've got to do whatever you can to either field that ball backhanded or try to get around in front of it to get that runner out over at first.
It has scored a base hit for Johnson, her 2nd of the game, and it's ball 1 to Sides. KB Sides with the bases loaded, delivered with a triple.
KB Sides, not known for her power in this lineup, but she blasts that ball over the head of Renee Abernathy in center field to score 3 runs for Alabama. And she was so fired up, getting the dugout fired up, the crowd fired up. That was a big-time hit by Sides.
I almost feel like we should go back to that and just do a freeze frame, and you can analyze face by face the level of being fired up in the crowd and in the dugout, because
well, it looked like Sarah Cornell there front and center with her rally cap on, and whatever she did in the 4th inning, it worked for her team.
Sides pulls it back. Count now 2-1 to the senior right fielder, who's 1 for 2. Now with 3 hits in the NCAA tournament. There goes the runner, fouled off by Sides. 2-2.
Johnson taking off on that pitch, and that's another thing for Bama is they don't just rely on speed for one or two players in their lineup, but really the entire lineup can take off at any time. Even last week we saw Bailey Hemphill score all the way from first base on a play.
Swung on and belted deep to left field and caught by Johnson at the wall. Hustling back to first is Jenna Johnson. Nicely done by Lauren Johnson in left.
This is a great piece of hitting by KB Sides and an even better catch in left field by Lauren Johnson. Look at how she turns her feet right at the last minute, noticing that she's turning the wrong direction to catch that ball, catches herself, able to get that ball before it hits the wall. Jenna Johnson took off from first base anticipating that that ball was going to hit the ground, so she had to hurry all the way back to first. But a nice recovery by Johnson to come up with that catch in deep left field.
Abby Dorr will come to the plate to pinch hit for Savannah Woodard with one out here in the 6th inning. Ball one. There goes the runner. The throw ends up in center field. A stolen base for Jenna Johnson.
Johnson getting a really good jump on this steal. Noticing that Emmy Blaine at second base was coming over to cover. Kowalik gets rid of it, but it sails on the second base side of second base, and because of that, Johnson able to dive in safely over into scoring position.
1-1 the count to Dorr.
I like this move here by Coach Patrick Murphy, going to the pinch hitter in Abby Dorr. Coming into this weekend, Savannah Woodard had hit safely in 9 of the last 11 games, but she was not seeing Autumn Humes well, had 2 strikeouts already in this game. So Coach Patrick Murphy trying to change it up a bit.
Big rip from Dorr. It's 2-2. Dorr 1 for 9 as a pinch hitter this season. 5 for 36 overall. Humes gets the strikeout. 2 down here in the 6th. Tonight, the NBA playoffs continue. A trio of Game 3s on ESPN 7 Eastern Time. The Knicks and the Hawks. Then on ABC at 8:30, it's the Nets and the Celtics. Nets up in that series 2-0. And back on ESPN 9:30, the Clippers down 2-0 to the Mavericks. All 3 games available on the ESPN app as well. Maddie Morgan had a RBI single in the 4th. 1 for 2 today. Peyton, Abernathy, and Humes due up in the top half of the 7th inning for the Wildcats. Trying to find success against Montana FOUTS, who's retired 7 in a row. Another case of FOUTS getting better as the game goes along. 2-1. Peyton's got power with 12 home runs in the season. Abernathy hit her 12th home run of the season off of FOUTS in the 4th. So opportunities coming up in the 7th for Kentucky, trying to keep it a 2-run game here.
Humes has stayed away to Maddie Morgan this entire at-bat. Her last at-bat, she tried to challenge her inside with that drop ball low and in. Morgan was able to get her hands around, get her barrel to it, and drive it through the 3-4 hole. So far, Humes working those off speeds outside.
Ball 4, 2 on with 2 out for Taylor Clark.
That pitch just missing up and away. We mentioned she was staying outside. This one goes for the rise ball, trying to catch the top half of the zone. Kowalik bringing that ball down, but not able to get that one called for a strike, and a free pass awarded to Alabama.
Kayla Davis will run for Morgan. Here's Taylor Clark, 0 for 2 against Humes.
We've seen Humes throughout this game work that rise ball up in the zone. Another one right there that Taylor Clark just fouled back. If I'm Clark in this at-bat, I'm looking to make an adjustment, try to hit the ball down on the ground. In both of her previous at-bats, a fly ball out to right and a fly ball to first base.
1-1.
Now with runners on board, more pressure put on the defense to be able to come up with the ball cleanly. I'd be doing whatever I can to get my barrel on top and hit this ball into the ground somewhere.
.111 pitches thrown by Humes, who appeared in each game of the Lexington Regional for Kentucky.
Looked like it might have clipped a piece of Kayla Kowalik back there behind the plate. Both catchers getting beat up back there today. Foul ball off the bat of Clark outside. Ooh, yep.
Part of the mask and then part of the shoulder. Humes gets the strikeout to get out of the jam. Last chance for Kentucky. Game 1 in front by 2 are the Crimson Tide, playing here at Rhodes Stadium. And another first pitch strike from Montana FOUTS. That's 22 first pitch strikes to 24 batters, including the last 13 batters she's faced.
Just one of the several reasons that makes her so effective out there in the circle is her ability to get ahead and stay ahead of these batters.
1-1 the count to Mallory Payton, who's 0 for 2 against FOUTS today. Two and one.
Payton taking some big old cuts on those curveballs outside. But that late movement just breaking away from that swing, not able to get any barrel on it.
Ten strikeouts for FOUTS. Now ready to face Renee Abernathy, who homered against FOUTS in the 4th.
Abernathy got all of this pitch after a check swing, a questionable call. I know the entire Stadium wanted that one called for a strike, but she comes up big for her squad, getting all of this pitch, driving it well over the center field wall.
This one is a fly ball to center field. Brown drifts back and can't get it. Abernathy goes deep again, a solo shot to make it a one-run game in the 7th.
No doubt about it, Renee Abernathy came to play today. She knows Montana FOUTS likes to get ahead in the count, and that's why she comes up and she's aggressive. Gets a pitch down in the zone. The last home run was up and out. This one down and in. Driving it again right back up the middle, and what that's telling me is that she is on time for the velocity that Montana FOUTS is bringing out there in the circle. Alyssa Brown almost robbing her of that home run. But regardless, another solo shot for Renee Abernathy, and that brings the Wildcats within 1 run of tying up this ball game.
Humes goes after the first pitch, doesn't get it, strike 1. 13 home runs now in the season for Abernathy. 78 for Kentucky as a team. Here's Humes, down in the count, 0-1, it's 1-1. Back up the middle, and the tying run is aboard with 1 out here in the 7th. Solid single from Humes, helping herself after striking out her first 2 at-bats.
And Humes found herself behind in the count yet again. This one up in the zone, a rise ball, and she just gets all of it, poking it right back up the middle past the glove of Montana FOUTS in the circle. And Kentucky showing that resilience and that fight that we saw last weekend after they lost to Notre Dame and came back, fought their way through the losers bracket to get here to the Super Regionals.
Stephanie Van Brakel pro throw will come out to have a conversation with Montana FOUTS and the infield. While they talk, we'll listen to Chris and Jen in the studio. Top of the 7th, Chris with 1 run in. Vanessa Nesby runs for Humes at first. Riley Smith takes ball 1. It was Smith who homered and had the walk-off game-winning single in the 8th inning in Game 3 of the Alabama series earlier this season. 1-1.
Smith was successful earlier in this game, back in the 3rd inning, laying down a beautiful bunt right there in front of home plate to reach base safely. This Alabama defense anticipating her going to that short game yet again is really challenging her on the left side of the infield.
2-2. The challenge now for Riley Smith and Miranda Stoddard is, can they get to Kayla Kowalik? the 500 hitter for Kentucky with 99 hits. Will she get an opportunity here in the 7th?
Another check swing. Let's take another look at it here by Riley Smith. Ooh.
Patrick Murphy, the head coach, will come out. He was upset, and we just showed you a few moments ago Abernathy's check swing. Alabama wanted that one, and Alabama didn't get this one in the 7th. So Murphy says his piece quickly. The crowd will continue to let you know what they feel. And the count is now 3-2 to Riley Smith. Chop out to Morgan. Smith's got great speed, but hanging off the bag at second and getting back safely is Nesby, but just barely. 2 on, 1 out for Kentucky. Great job by Smith.
That left side of the infield was challenging Smith, but this one hit off of the end of the bat, and Maddie Morgan knew she did not have a play over at first, so she turns to fire to second base. Savannah Woodard over there picks the ball out of the dirt. And I think because she had to pick the ball out of the dirt and her glove came up just slightly before it came back down, Nesby might have been able to sneak that hand in there just in time before Woodard came down with that tag.
Stoddard swings at the first pitch and lifts it to center field. Brown's got it. 2 down, but it does bring Kowalik to the plate with 2 down and 2 on here in the 7th.
You called it, Eric. Kentucky was going to do whatever it took to get Kowalik up in this situation. This is the exact hitter that they want up. Finished the regular season hitting over 500. She's somebody that has so many tools, a true triple threat coming from the left side. She has power, she can drop a bunch, she can slap. And the entire time you know she's going to be reading the defense to see what is going to give her the best opportunity to score this run and tie up this ball game.
And they will intentionally walk Kayla Kowalik to load the bases. Talk about respect. That will put the tying run 60 feet away at third base.
I think Alabama's going with, they're not going to let the best player on the other team beat them, and that is Kayla Kowalik for Kentucky. They are going to force somebody else to be able to get the job done, and it's going to fall on the shoulders of Tatum Spangler, who was waiting over there in the on-deck circle, knowing that Alabama is wanting to challenge her. They're putting the pressure on Spangler to see if she can get the job done. Spangler already with a base hit in this ball game.
That hit in the 3rd inning came with 2 outs, brought in Stoddard in the game's first run. Nesby at 3rd with a tying run. Bases loaded, 2 down. And pitch number 133 from Montana FOUTS. The walk issued to Kowalik was the first one yielded by FOUTS today. So Patrick Murphy has supreme confidence in FOUTS, knows that she has command of her pitches, will throw strikes, not worried about walking in a run, putting Kowalik on to load the bases and taking his chances with the junior Tatum Spangler.
crowd wants that pitch called, but you can even see Bailey Hemphill saying that's a little bit too far off the plate. So this is a pitch where all the pressure is on Montana Fouts in the circle. She has to bring it over the plate in order not to walk in a run here. Check swing by Spangler. A little hesitant on this pitch, but this is the moment that you live for as a player. Bases loaded, your team's down by 1 run, top of the 7th, 2 outs, full count, Super Regionals. Crowd is on their feet. You couldn't have scripted it any better.
Spit will be in motion off second base. The 3-2 from Fouts. Called strike 3. Alabama wins game 1.
Montana Fouts was not about to walk in the tying run. She challenges Tatum Spangler with this ball over the plate. Gets her looking for the final strikeout of the game, and boy, was it a big one, Eric. Alabama so impressive today, working through this Kentucky offense that was resilient, putting runners on base, hitting the long ball, but ultimately it came down to one big inning for Alabama, being able to string singles together, and then the big hit by KB Sides to get it all going. This pitch by Montana Fouts, again, working the rise ball on the outside half of the plate. Tatum Spangler can't believe it. She thought it was ball 4, but Montana Fouts is fired up because she knows that she is 1 win closer to getting to Oklahoma City.
The bases were loaded. The count was 3-1. And now Alabama can celebrate, and I think Patrick Murphy probably exhaled right around there after walking the bases loaded. And a 3-1 pitch from Fouts was fouled off by Spangler. She comes back to get the strikeout. Rachel Lawson's team battled here in a tough environment. They had the tying run 60 feet away.
So close, and some great swings by this Kentucky team. They've been resilient all season long, and we saw it again today.
Alabama takes game 1 of the Super Regional. 4-3 the final. Now on to the Norman Super Regional, Oklahoma and Washington.